never throwing his bolts, trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna give themselves a big old 4K. Santi getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga Fort is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. They just to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this NRG, popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The fourth one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Everybody, thank you very much for joining us here on this Saturday evening. Now, as we've already had some nice action to start out the day, and today we got some double downing for you here. Of course, CGL and CGL1 both running today with some fantastic matches, but Shadowfang, we saw some stuff from the EU GM tier earlier in the day, and now we get to watch the North American GM tier do its thing. It's another upper finals matchup. Winner of this game is going to move on to the grand finals, while the loser will have to fight for their life to try to get that second spot.
And I mean, what else would we expect in this tier? Quite honestly, these are what I would argue are the 2 best teams in this tier. So I honestly expect this to just happen again in the grand finals as well, because these 2 teams are just elite right now, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing a good match here today.
Yeah, and if these teams know anything, it is about putting on a good match. But by far and away, in terms of what we've seen statistically, the best teams within their division. I mean, both have only taken 1 loss. RRG took that loss in part of bigbigbigttarfan600, and for their counterpart, it happened unfortunately from a forfeit. But if we're talking about actual head-to-head results, you can look back at the mid-season championship, the finals, where RRG Varsity took that in 3-1 fashion. So if there's a team that technically has the edge right now, you have to consider that to be RRG Varsity.
No, absolutely. So T-Tarfan is going to remember that, and they're going to want to knock them down into that lower bracket here tonight. So I expect to see some really good fight out of them starting off on map number 1.
Yep, and of course we will figure all that out, because of course the highest seed does get to be able to pick the first map as well as the first ban as well, which between these teams, obviously it came down to who that mid-season champion was. It's RRG Varsity who is going to be having that first pick here. So we're going to get that first map set in place, as who would have ever guessed, Lijiang Tower going to start us out. And Shadowfang, I say it all the time when we go here, every team has practiced this map dozens, if not hundreds of times over. It's extremely linear. This is going to be an amazing display as to what these teams are likely most comfortable on for the series.
No, absolutely. It's a good map for pretty much most compositions, but I think primarily those brawl comps really thrive here, especially if you want to group up, run something with some Lucio speed. This is one of the best maps in the game to do it on, for sure.
100%. I'm really excited to see how that goes through. But of course, along with the first pick over on the map, first pick of the bans also goes to RRG Varsity, and we have both locked in already, and they're going to like to get rid of Kiriko, while Big T-Tarfan is going to get rid of Symmetra. And Shadowfang, in my opinion, one of these is fairly objectively correct one. The Symmetra one, however, I think only works simply because this is Lijiang Tower, and you can 100% get away with Symmetra.
No, absolutely. Symmetra teleport strats are still strong on this map. We don't see them nearly as often as we used to, but that doesn't mean they don't still work here. I think they could still work very much so. And so, Tarfan is just saying, we don't want to see any of that. We just want to see you play us straight up. We don't want to have to speed out of spawn and try and put our teleporter up faster than yours so that we can get our turrets up in time, you know? So I definitely understand that.
Yeah, 100%. So get that done and dusted right here. But I don't think either of these picks should really stop us from seeing what these teams are most comfortable with. Yes, Kiriko being taken out, maybe that throw is the smallest of wrenches in the plan, but you have excellent substitutions, you know, like that, you know, that can come through. But of course, it's not about the heroes necessarily they're selecting. It's about the players who have had fantastic seasons on both sides of the table. So of course, we want to take a grand look at them both. And RRG Varsity going to be the first one out. And man, I do not speak this language. I will come back and I will double check that name very shortly. But we have Nunhag over on DPS, Piercing on tank, and then Nene and Guitar Bob on support. And again, only loss coming to that regular season. And being able to go in with this momentum, getting a very clean win in your first round, having that mid-season title under your belt. I mean, there's a grand reason this team has done as well as they have.
No, absolutely. Really strong team. According to the team sheet, that name is Mach, M-A-K. So that's what our team sheet says. So that's what I'm going to roll with. If that's actually something else, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, God. I'm actually going to put that through translator here in a moment, find out what that really is. But either way, talking about names we might want to put in translators. One that always twists my tongue is their opponent here today, bigbigbigttarfan600. See, even after all these times of saying it, I still haven't said it right, ladies and gentlemen, but I can at least say these names here correctly. We have Pickles and Frerin over on the DPS, Haru on tank and Spicy Toast, and Nyla on support. And again, not kind of just to copy what I've kind of already said about RG University, or Varsity for that matter. It's just a team that's performed extremely well. The only one blunder they really have is that mid-season finals loss, but outside of that, this has been an extremely dominant team right here. It's really hard to count a team like this out. I mean, it's essentially a 50-50 in my mind.
Absolutely. I really think this could go either way, and that's all the more reason why this first map is so important. It's really going to help you set tempo, get the momentum going in your favor, and with Kiriko being one of the bans here, I think that does raise the chances of us seeing potentially Junker Queen compositions. You know, that Rampage becomes, in my opinion at least, it becomes the best ultimate in the game when the Suzu's no longer available.
Yeah, this also opens up the door to something like an Ana as well to come in and be able to reign a little more. But even so, if you're running the Ana, the best combo that comes to mind, of course, is the Brig. And if you're running that, you're normally going towards the Dive, which unfortunately is really only going to work on a map like Gardens. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Obviously, Nyla might have been the recipient of that ban style. And if we're kind of just looking at what we're seeing, I mean, the Junker Queen style composition does have a large likelihood of coming out in this situation right here. So I'm curious to see what the adjustment is, because at this point, I would imagine you just substitute a Kiriko likely for a Juno.
It's probably going to be something like that. That's probably the closest thing you can get to it. And then you might run like a Juno Brig and have the speed ring instead of the Lucio speed, because I think Juno Lucio is a little too all in. Well, wait, if we're seeing a Malga, I think it's the correct amount of all in. I do like this. If you're just gonna go, you know, just bum rush somebody, just get on this tank, this Ramatra of Haru as fast as you possibly can, and just mow them down with this Malga. That's gotta be your play here if you're RRG.
100%. Of course, going to get this series started away. Definitely not the first one between these teams, and potentially might not be their last of the season right here. Going to get things started away. Piercing more than happy to start out on the Malga, see what happens. If you catch somebody in the wrong area at the wrong place at the wrong time, that Malga can delete you very quickly. But as you can see, RRG making very careful to take their time here, wait for their moment. The charge coming through, and Ala gets pierced right then and there. Sport line deleted right here. While Pickles is doing their darnest to pull this one back, unfortunately, the numbers game is just going to start paying too much of a dividends, as RG Varsity should be able to start with a point.
Absolutely, and I honestly think that's just a bit of a comp differential right there. I like this swap from Tarfan over to the Ana and the Juno. That should give you something to just attempt to deal with this Mauga. Same thing with the Junker Queen coming out. It gives a less big target for the Mauga to shoot at. And that's just really helpful because Mauga's strongest usually when they're just kind of trying to mow down a tank.
Yeah, I agree 100% in this situation right here. Again, going for another attempt here. Pickle's unfortunately going to get caught out in this situation. Makes it a really rough scenario to do anything here. Another slam nearly coming down over on the head of Fran right now as Piercing and forced to get out, get some care, and simply give things up for the time being. But again, with Haru falling, it's going to be another reset in for RRG Varsity. I mean, having as great a start as you could hope for.
Absolutely. They seem to know how to play this Mauga composition very, very well. You know, playing the touch the spawn door challenge. Nonag doing a fantastic job on this Tracer of just consistently picking someone off, you know, drawing the attention of some of these supports. And now here we are, we're in a Mauga mirror just like that. But don't look now, Nonag has this pulse bomb ready to go.
Yeah, 100% a rough one right here. If it does catch over onto Spicy Toast right now, who 100% needs to stay alive because now is going to be important. But instead, we're going to see the Ogre Ray come into effect right now. It's trading back and forth. Is both Soldier's more than happy to let things loose right now. But for Mac, it is paying up big time right now. Fearin, though, has got 2 apiece as well, but unfortunately might be forced to back out. And maybe Piercing being a little bit overzealous here could be costing the team the point here as everyone else has to back up as Big Tarfan can finally move forward.
Yeah, Freerin doing a great job there on that overclock, just getting kill after kill after kill. But RRG Varsity not giving up that point just yet, managing to get it up to 93%. I mean, you gotta be pretty happy with that if you're RRG. Like, you didn't have to use too much of it.
No, you really didn't have to. The situation stick is going to come through onto Freerin, taking care of business. Still creates a 4v4 environment right now. Pickles is going to go on the hunt right now. Once Nonag dead really badly, but it's not going to happen right now. It's cage fight available for Piercer right now. That means you're probably going to have to throw in Nyla's Oracle Ray here if you want to try to survive. And that is exactly what's going to happen. The Nano on top of that, Nyla getting eliminated right then and there right now. And eventually, your CV thing just simply be deleted right here. So now it's going to come down to a lot of these stagger picks coming through right now. It's going back and forth here and doing everything for your squad to keep them going. And ultimately, it's going to pay off as they will once again hold on to the points.
And I mean, ever since Big Tarfan swapped over to this Mauga and matched it, but they have the Ana Spicy Toast. I think that's really been the difference so far. These antis have been doing so much for them to just give their Mauga the advantage in this 1v1.
100% in this situation. But either way, 60% as we see the cage fight be activated. Lots of bodies, and the nade comes in as well. Onto full supports. They end up dropping at the end of the day. Haru helping their squad out. It looks like the swap will eventually come into effect right now. And again, a nice couple entry or exit frags more so. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to one gigantic factor here, and it's going to be Mac over on the Sojourn because they're about to have their ultimate online once again.
Yeah, you got both Sojourns having their overclock, basically. I would say if Nene can manage to build up to this orbital ray, that could be a really strong deciding factor. But you can't let Nonag catch somebody with this.
Yeah, Nonag kind of went for the Kobe right there. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out as Mac trying to go in and find something right now. We see the trade out as Piercing goes down early right now, but it could be on the back of the Sojourns to make something happen. Mac more than happy to bring their team back, and with the overtime going to begin taking away here very shortly. It's all just a numbers game. Unfortunately, the numbers very much favor one side, as unfortunately going to lose out on Haru. Nyla might try to touch, but it will be meaningless at the end of the day. A close one to get us started, but RRG Varsity off to a great start, give themselves the ability to take away our first round.
A really strong recovery though from Tarfan in that round. They were getting dominated pretty heavily until they mirrored the Mauga comp as well, and then it started being a relatively even map, I would say. You know, we ended up 98 to 100, so essentially even. I would like to see them honestly probably just continue to play this Mauga. If you're Tarfan, there's no Symmetra, so there's no fear of the other team getting there before you. So all you have to do is just kind of route your way, position yourself on that point, and then once you're there, it looks like RRG Varsity is going to opt for this Winston. That Winston has to go into your team, and you know Winston doesn't like to do that when there's a Mauga on the field.
No, not in the slightest right here. So got this next one ready to go. Night Market getting us going here for the second round, potentially the last one here on Lijiang Tower. Things don't go well, but Guitar Bob is over on the Lucio this time with Nene. I mean, it's just a complete swap of all things considered right here, but this is difficult to do, typically. But this is why you don't go for the Mauga in this situation. You are hunting those smaller targets, like the Sojourn, like the Tracer, and so far it's worked out beautifully as RG Varsity looks like they're going to take claim to the point first yet again.
The big key here, if Tarfan is going to play this Mauga comp, they kind of have to play it like a death ball comp. You can't solo yourself out because, again, the Tracer, the Sojourn, the Winston, that's a lot of characters that can just easily kill a bunch of these squishy characters. So look right here, right? You need to be with your Mauga at basically all times, otherwise this comp is not going to work.
Yeah, 100%. This is something where Mauga style is technically more of a death ball than anything else, as point touch going to come through right here. Haru's just going to die a slow, excruciating death, unfortunately. And if I'm Big T Tarfan right now, I'm considering swapping off and going to something like the Joker Queen instead.
Yeah, most definitely. You're going to need to swap to something. I don't mind the mirror, of course. I never would mind the mirror. I feel like Nyla should probably just go for the Ana as well. The Nano Boost is just too good with the Winston. But having the Juno isn't necessarily bad. It's just having to deal with the Nano Boost.
A 3-man anti as well doesn't result in anybody going down, but does hamper the plan to move forward a little bit here as Nene having that Nano ready to go, likely going to give it over to Piercings if the scenario calls for it. Maybe you wait for your Sojourn to be able to get up towards their overclock, but for the time being, I mean, Shadowfang, time's just burning away. This is technically a Final Fight territory, and with that, losing out on another, I mean, this is devastating of a beginning for T Tarfan. It's unfortunate right now.
I mean, Tarfan, they can't seem to regroup, like, in any way whatsoever. They're just constantly staggering in, dying one by one. RRG isn't even having to use any ultimates. They're, Tarfan is just walking into them and dying over and over again. Like, there's nothing to really do about that.
Yeah, and now Beat's going to be expended right here and now by RRG. Varsity hoping to make something happen right here. It's simply a chase down as there is pressure over on the point right now. Overtime is going to activate, and it's on the back of Freer right now to try to bring their squad back right now. Numbers game, though, playing much against their favor right now. Going to go in, needs to find at least one to give themselves an opportunity. Unfortunately, the numbers game is too much, and while the first round was extremely back and forth, it's a dominant streak to end it. Lijiang Tower, in very convincing fashion, going to RRG University.
And I mean, honestly, Nene on that Ana was just really uncontested for a large majority of that map. Really popping off with those antis and those nano timings were just fantastic.
This ends now.
No, it was absolutely wonderful right now, and it was a big back and forth. The biggest problem with that second round, though, is that you kind of suggested it yourself. There wasn't a whole lot of actual fights going on. There were people dying, but there weren't any fights. There was one fight at the beginning, and from there, it kind of just felt like one long, continuous snowball that just they were never able to come back from. But to be fair, that's also on the back of Varsity playing that comp extremely efficiently.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It's good identification, recognition from Varsity. They're seeing, okay, there's a Sojourn over here that is essentially alone. Let's go get that character over and over and over again. Oh, I noticed this Lucio's a little bit overextended right now while the team's trying to regroup. Let's get that kill while we can. I'm going to toss this anti over here. Y'all go land that dive in with the Winston, get that little Tesla cannon damage off, and boom, there you go. You're just constantly staggered at that point now.
Yeah. Unfortunate scenario, but it is a first to 3, so of course, plenty of time to still bounce back, and now in this situation, it's going to be big T Tarfan's opportunity to be able to go for their own picks here. So obviously, got to discuss what map you want to go to next, and just a reminder is that this is not completely linear. They are very much open to the pool that is available to them. If they wanted to take us to hybrid and take a more brawl-like approach again, they could. If you wanted to go to maybe a Hollywood, where you could perhaps more focus on the dive, opportunity is there. But at this point, I mean, how would you want to lean at this point? Just taking into consideration what we have learned from this first map.
Yeah, based on what I just saw, I think you need to go to a map that is brawl centric. this is where my
All right.
my forehead is going right now.
Let's hear this.
I would pick one of the maps that typically you wouldn't pick a brawl that you typically wouldn't do a brawl style on. So like for instance, we have so many escort maps that are available, but Shambali Monastery is one of them. I think I would go to Shambali Monastery because most of the push maps you can play brawl on. The flashpoint maps you can play brawl on. So then you're leaving RRG with only a hybrid map as a choice if they want to play dive. If you take away that escort pick right now and you win it.
Right. I relatively agree with that. The one thing I'm taking to this scenario is that Kiriko is very much going to be back on the board for Big Tarfan to run. So whoa, that's not what I expected at all.
I didn't expect that either. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, to explain my quick thought really that I had is I thought they might go to New Junk City now having the renewed Kiriko go back to the Junker Queen style. I think it could work great, but no Junker Queen is going to be in sight for this map. If so, I may be turning crazy as we're going over to Numbani, very much a dive style map.
Yeah.
There are definitely times where you could run poke, you could run brawl, but I think dive is king on this map here. So I mean, we kind of just saw how the dive worked out for RRG University when they were running it, and to be honest, it worked out pretty phenomenally. So the question is, what is exactly the idea here?
Maybe it's more that they know how to play dive on this map. Maybe they don't know how to play dive on Lijiang Tower, right? Because it felt like when T-Tarfan was walking out, they didn't know how to play that comp on that map. Everybody was just all over the place, not really knowing where to be at, when to be there. But Numbani is it's a straightforward dive map, right? Everybody's played dive on that map time and time again, so it's just more known. It's a more known, kind of like we were talking about with Lijiang, how it's typically unknown that you're going to play the brawl. On Numbani, you're definitely playing dive. I can't believe they're about to go to this map and play Malga. I can't believe that to be true.
It'd be crazy. The other possibility is obviously D.Va is a really good counter dive pick as well.
Yeah.
That's a possibility here, but our big T-Tarfan in this scenario right here, it's really a question of what do you think is going to hamper your style the most, or maybe we want to protect something instead.
I think they're banning Ana. I think the Ana was doing way too much on that last map, so I think they're going to just go on ahead and ban the Ana.
I would probably agree in this situation. I think Ana could be a good ban right here. Maybe get rid of the Brig, but Ana is indeed going to be the thing. You're 1-for-1 Shadow Fang. Let's see if we can make you 2-for-2.
All right, so if I'm RRG here, how do I want to hamper T-Tarfan? Maybe you go D.Va here. This is where you ban D.Va because you think you're better at the Winston and you don't want them playing the D.Va. That's my off-the-wall guess, but we'll see. We'll have to see.
Yeah. The counterpart of Winston is also a possibility here. Maybe you do decide to get rid of something, maybe like a wild card element, like a Doomfist. Maybe you do get rid of the Malga just for funsies, but instead it's going to be the Sojourn, which is technically a shot at both teams here, which, I mean, for me personally, this screams Ashe to me. That's what this yells at me right here.
Yeah, you could run Ashe, or maybe the side of RRG, both players are strong at flex and they want to run like some Tracer Echo, something to that effect. That could be something. But like you said, it's probably just going to end up being the Ashe. I just want people to play Echo, and people just don't do that anymore.
I see it occasionally. It got played for like a minute earlier today during our UGM match. But with this being the case right here, with Ana being taken out, this pretty much just opens the door for Big T-Tarfan to run the Lucio Kiriko style that I think they're very comfortable running here. But the question is, for me, is what Haru is going to run here, because I wish you could play Junker Queen on Numbani. I wish it was that kind of map, but it's not. So at the end of the day, the question becomes, what do you pick? And the answer should probably just be Winston, but to be fair, that could change very quickly depending on how that opening attack or defense goes.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think the team should run like some Winston Tracer dive here. You could still run the Reaper as well. You know, people love to play that Reaper into the Winston, just kind of give the Winston more to think about. But outside of that, I'm really thinking it's got to be okay. So there is some Echo potential happening here. And looks like Tarfan is going to be playing the Diva, as you mentioned, but we're seeing Ash and Torbjorn. I can't say I expected Torb, but you know, I'm never upset to see Torb.
Yeah, it's just a full-on poke style. This is just what this is right here. And now things are to get complicated now for RRG Varsity because it looks like they might literally just be attempting to TP in, just DM their Bastion and try to let them take care of business. I mean, to be fair, if this is a one-fight attempt, I don't hate it, honestly. Why not? Might as well try it.
Yeah, you know, why not?
That's what
Let's
they're
go
doing.
around, teleport our Bastion to a random high ground, and give them an immortality field. Let's go for it.
Yep, they're gonna go for it. DM gonna come through, and they're going in. And immediately boops off the one person who didn't need to get booped off. Getting DM'd away right now, of course, hanging around. You know what? I don't hate it. That's just the most unfortunate thing that could have happened during that. And now Piercing needs to run for the hill so they don't get demeched. There's the swaps.
Oh, there's the Tracer Echo that I was expecting. There it is. It actually happened. I can't believe it. I actually love Echo into this. People say Echo gets countered by hit scans and all that sort of thing, but if you're just playing your angles properly and you can land those sticky bombs, you can dominate some hit scans with it, bro.
You can right here, but of course walking to the Ash Torture, not going to be the easiest scenario in the world right now, but seems to be flawless for the time being as Piercing it's extremely low there momentarily, but of course Nene there to keep them up and running right now. It's RRG Varsity right now, struggling a little bit right now, but she to find that opening to be able to burst them through and hopefully on the back of one of these supports if you are, you know, an RRG fan, you know, might be at the end of the day, despite very much engaging right here, Shadowfang right now, trying to find something as Haru, but unfortunately he's going to get demeched here, which is going to make this fight exceedingly difficult to win, and I think with that right then and there, I think Big Tarfan might just have to back up and potentially just give this point up.
Absolutely. Mach doing such a good job right now on this Echo of just not really being an LOS of anybody that often, just going through, getting the sticky bombs, just kind of doing a little spam here and there. And look at that focusing beam coming out. The defense matrix is so good though from Haru.
Gosh. God, and this swap just came last thing for all three of these members. Have already got the ultimate after that. And also, Pickle's just happy to just use that. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't have too many uses in the world, but now it just kind of just creates some space as the Katsune Rush comes online. Nene wants them to win this right here and now, but Nyla willing to invest one of the best ultimates on the table to try to counter them, and it does push them back further. Unfortunately, it's not resulting in anything right here, so Guitar Boy or Bob wants to just go in with an aggressive beat. Nothing would stop them.
No, absolutely not. Spicy Toast does still have the rally, though, that could potentially be somewhat of a helpful counter here. And there's the sound barrier, just like you said.
Yeah, now it's going to get tough right here. Pickles is not going to be able to get anything out right now. Bob going to be invested by Fearin right here. Bit of a rough scenario, surrounded on all sides right here as Nonag going to be able to hit the recall and back right out of there once more. And at the end of the day, this is simply going to be a game of trying to stall it out right now as Bomb going to go up in the air for Haru. It's going to catch on to a grand total of 0 people, and Piercing's Bomb likely to be the same here. But it means both people are still up and running and should be able to set up one more re-engagement with Nonag going down. Does open up the door once more for Big Tarfan.
Definitely doing a good job right now, just kind of controlling this space. RRG Varsity doing a great job of backing up, regrouping with their team as well. No ultimates yet to speak of. Nene getting pretty close on that Tsune Rush, and Nonag getting close on the pulse bomb, but that's about it for either side.
Yeah, let's take into account that Nene and Nyla used their ults about maybe like 10 seconds apart at most right now. And Nyla, unfortunately, hopelessly behind in terms of being able to stop Nene from using this with the max amount of efficiency right now. In fact, there's nothing that can really stop that, so I'd be ready to back out immediately. But with Guitar Bob going down, it makes it a little difficult. You could still go in a 4v5 situation with taking Tsune Rush. I think that would even it out, but that is a big risk that with this much time, I don't think you should be taking.
No, absolutely not. Just regroup with your team. The downside is that Nyla probably will build up to this orbital ray before the next engagement happens. I would have to imagine it's very close.
Yeah, but you see, the big thing is that they're not just dumping damage into Haru to be able to get that charge through. So now in the situation, Nene is likely going to do that, but Pagos gets the pulse bomb eaten away. But we'll get some revenge over on their counterpart, getting rid of Nonag here. So door is very much open up to their favor right now, but unfortunately, Haru there to clean things up as well, bring back the 4v4 styling, and as great of a start as RRG Varsity has had, 2 minutes in counting right now, and not making a whole lot of progress.
I mean, Haru's doing a great job of just catching these supports out time and time again, just really soloing out these individual targets as they step out of line. And I mean, now we're sitting here. This is going to be an ult dump of a fight right here. You got an orbital ray. You got this rally. You got the bomb getting close on this Bob as well. Piercing has swapped over to Winston as well. Worth noting.
Yeah. To see how it works out here. I think Winston can still play pretty well into default, all things considered right now. Is Tracer Battle taking away the attention over here right now as we do see an orbital ray being used. Unfortunately, it's kind of a zoning orbital ray. It's just kind of stopping the fight temporarily, but Shadowfang, at the end of the day, this beat is still here. This pulse bomb is still here. They have the tools to be able to engage. The question is, are they going to do so correctly?
That is the $1,000,000 question. Look for No Nag to go for this pulse bomb in the back line right now. There they go. Misses it, though. That was a nice try.
Yeah, it was very close to sticking on. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen as that health pack is No Nag's best friend thus far. Be going to be activated right here. Haru has a bomb ready to expend right now, and literally Spice is spending the rally, just keeping care of Ferns Bob in the scenario right here, but these are going to get rough. Haru likely going to try to pop their own bomb here momentarily on top of the cart. You can see them trying to set up for it. It will go up in the air right here. Going to try to get rid of them. Bubble use. Haru gets rid of two with the bomb, and now things falling out of the favor once more, and what should have been RRG's victory decisively has fallen apart at the seams.
Oh, that is such a tragic moment right there. But I mean, that bomb's so far up in the air, and you're sitting there fighting on point. You don't quite position right to not die to it. And now here we are in what's most likely going to be a relatively dry fight for the last fight. Maybe No Nag gets to this pulse bomb. That kind of has to be the big play here. Pulse bomb and Prime are going to be available for RRG. Not if Pearson goes down, though.
Yeah, things are getting a little testy right now. Pearson going down does create an interesting dilemma, which means No Nag is just going to have to live because they are the sole toucher. That is, no one else can probably do that unless Pearson has to gamble away their primal potential to be able to get there right now. But either way, has been activated, so Shadowfang, this fight going to mean absolutely everything right now. Piercing needs to be able to live. Guitar Bob does go down. Doesn't mean the fight is nearly over yet, though. Piercing sitting at 99 right now. Pulse Bomb came out, unfortunately, does not connect. And while Piercing is finally going to have this Primary ready to go, needs to pop it instantly. It's becoming too far of a numbers game right now. Best thing Piercing can do is jump back and forth and attempt to do something. But with the bomb right there, is pretty much going to negate that possibility. Piercing literally turned around and threw themselves off the edge here, giving up on the fight. And for RRG University, great start, unfortunately, a weak finish.
I mean, I said it in the middle of that map, but it just continued to happen. Haru is just consistently catching somebody out early in like all of these fights, whether it's Guitar Bob, or whether it's Mock, No Nag. Any one of these squishy targets is just, even Piercing, actually. Piercing got caught out super early in the next, when the team was regrouping for that last fight. It just seems like this diva is just doing so much for their team right now.
Yeah, it really does feel like it. The stats on display honestly reflect such greatly here. So either way, RRG Varsity still a chance to full hold this one to make something happen, but it's going to be a tough journey. It is not the easiest thing in the world to hold this point. In comparison to some other first points, I would say it's a bit easier. But the thing that's really damaging is how far away that defensive spawn really feels a lot of the time. So if you mess up, a recontestation is very difficult to achieve.
No, you have to, at the very least, get a trade if you're going to die as a defender. If you don't manage to at least get a trade, it's almost a guarantee you're going to lose that fight because, as you said, the spawns are just so far back. And a support in particular, if any of the supports go down, usually it's pretty much going to be over at that point because it's just going to take them way too long to get back into the fight again.
Yeah, really is at the end of the day. As hanging on right now is Pickles nearly just gets essentially 2-tapped away, but we'll live to continue this first fight right now, and it's immediately giving some pressure away right now as Hydron attempting to be taken away right now, but unfortunately it's not going to be the easiest thing to achieve until you get that speed. You see it coming through right now as eventually hoping to deliver some pressure, but for Big TJF right now, they are taking their sweet time because they are in no rush.
Oh, no, absolutely. They're trying to catch out Mock here with Biggles. They're just kind of waiting for that to happen. But otherwise, not really much going on yet.
Yeah, Focusing Beam is there right now, but a Mega Health Pack screaming Pickles' name. And during all this, eventually we see the trades come through right now. Guitar Bob just they're a second too late to save their friend right there. So it creates a forward throw situation, which realistically should go in the favor of Big Tarfan, who have the closer spawns, as they're going to give away the first 2 ticks and hopefully try to re-engage and build up to that Kitsune Rush.
They're going to have to try and get this Kitsune Rush off. That's their only chance to not give this point up so early.
Yeah, they got a retouch. They get it to 99.4, but now you cannot get off this point, or else you pretty much surrender that first one right away right here. It's going to be a really tough scenario right now. Going to go in to try to get the recongestion. They're going to go down on them, but not quite yet. But they cannot get off the point. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, literally a momentary step off that point would take away the possibility, but at the end of the day, things are going to work out beautifully for them. Haru, the last remaining member, is just gonna push up a little bit and is gonna use the bomb to remech to re-engage. Interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely a choice that occurred right there. I mean, I get it. You know, you want to get back in the fight as fast as possible, but you haven't really built up to your support ultimates yet, and that's going to be your big engage tools here. You need that orbital ray to take this point, otherwise I don't think you're going to be able to get the ground you need.
Yeah, if I'm harder right now, I would consider pressuring that point, but now with the copy coming online, the Tracer running around makes things very difficult to be able to handle right now with 1:45 left on the clock. What seemed like, you know, pretty good momentum for the side of the Big Tarfan is actually becoming a little bit of a deficit right now, it feels like.
Absolutely, and I mean, you do get the copy out of RRG, so they're left with Molten Core and Bomb, and you finally have those support ults that I was talking about that are so crucial here. But Guitar Bob has built up to a sound barrier, so they've got something to try and deal with what you're gonna do.
Yeah, and Bob as well being thrown out, and pretty much dedicating part of that ult to getting rid of the Bob as well. I don't hate it at the end of the day, but Bomb gonna be thrown up into the air, hoping to find something right now, but it seems to be going back into the favor of RRG. Varsity, we're going to expend the beat as well to try to double down here. So at the end of the day, this means all that's going to be at the exposure right now is Nene going to have this ult right now is, honestly, if I'm Haru, I'll say if you don't get this pick, go for it. But now Nene is going to use this ult to try to double down on the fight even more. And now things are becoming a bit of a struggle because now you invested everything you have into your RRG University. If it doesn't work out here, these are going to get very scary very quickly right here. As Piercing going to get stunned away. Someone needs to get rid of this turret, by the way. But unfortunately for Tar Bob, a little too far in for their own good right now, as eventually the assassination on the turret is going to come into fruition right now with the recall being suspended by Flock as well. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, that chance that Big Tarfan just took, it's going to pay off beautifully.
And I mean, yeah, it really did indeed. And just not really much value gotten out of that Kitsune Rush popped on point. Haru doing a good job of just kind of retreating for a moment, letting that ultimate wear off somewhat, and then getting the kill onto Guitar Bob, following up right there. And no ultimates really to speak of for either side. There is a bomb available for Haru, probably just going to be used to remech though, so not really a super impactful ult in that way.
Yeah, not necessarily. We've seen a bomb get value once already, specifically being used to be able to stop a point from being tapped. But we need to potentially see such again here right now as progress is being made and not a whole lot being done to stop it yet. And to be fair, it's hard because despite the meter, it's being this far back still, this is final fight territory. If you lose this fight, it's going to be extremely hard to do anything, especially losing Guitar Bob. That is especially going to do so right here as Mega Health Pack going to be gained in time, but it's going to cause Mach to be able to back out of there and have to hit the recall. And now things get very dangerous. Bob around the corner. Pulse Bomb. Everything is coming around the corner. Stick goes on beautifully as Nonag is going to survive the initial damage of it, but will get burned away after the fact right now. And now Natalie will be more than happy to try to put the exclamation mark on this thing, and with everybody falling one after another, gonna have to get Kitsune Rush with 2 people in Shadowfang. Unfortunately, it is all falling apart.
It definitely is. The Kitsune Rush comes out from Nene though, and that something's gonna have to die from that. Otherwise, you're just done here if you're RRG.
Yeah, and it's falling apart of the scenes right here. Nonag is going to come in, the last potential attempt here. Unfortunately, everybody's deleted, slowly pushing the cart into victory. We got ourselves a tie ball game, ladies and gentlemen, 1-1. Big Tarfan taking New Bonnie, and obviously had an idea how they wanted to play this. It works out rather beautifully. So at the end of the day, I think both teams have come to an understanding as to what one is good at and one, you know, or perhaps one is not so good at. And by the way, that TP, that's got to be the scariest thing as a brig. Spicy Joe's just standing there chilling out. Suddenly a TP in your face and 5 players show up.
No, I mean, I almost started laughing there towards the end when RRG's Diva was just standing perfectly still with defense matrix up, just like, yeah, I'm not gonna take damage here, so I'm just why would I bother moving? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I love seeing little moments like that. It's the same thing with the Brigia right there, just like, they're not gonna kill me, so it's chill. It's chill.
Yeah, it's completely chill. But as for both these teams, I mean, very much trying to compete and make this thing happen because
Hmm.
again, this is for a grand final spot. This isn't some regular game in the the regular season that will essentially decide a first or second seed. This is to decide who gets that spot in the grand finals. That has a lot of advantages to that as well. Being able to sit
Hmm.
back, being able to watch, being able to strategize far ahead of time. And at the end of the day, we're gonna find out who one of those teams are. Not quite yet, because ladies and gentlemen, we will be going to a bit of a break here for a few minutes, get things decided for our third map. But when we come back, it's going to be the pick of RRG Varsity as to where we go. Where will it be? You're going to find out right after this break. Welcome back, everybody, once more. Hope you grab yourself some popcorn, perhaps got yourself a nice soft drink, because we could be in for the long haul here in this matchup. It is a spot for the grand finals. That's how important this is for one of these teams to come away with a victory today. But right now, Shadow Fang at a bit of a stalemate here. It is 1-1. RRG Varsity, big T-Tar fan 600 going at it for what I believe is the third time already this season. It's been a back and forth affair. And for me personally, Shadow Fang, when we're talking about which maps are the most important, I think map 3 is incredibly important because it dictates not only, the advantage going into map 4, but also if you win map 3 and we go to a 5-map series, that person will be the one to dictate the map and ban for that last map.
No, it's really crucial because you're putting all the pressure on the other team by winning this map. Because immediately, like you said, it's match point for whoever wins this map. And, honestly, both teams have been pretty dominant so far on the maps that they have won, right? RRG, I think, dominated Lijiang Tower pretty heavily, and Big T-Tar fan held RRG between first and second point on Numbani, which I rarely ever see happen, honestly. The second point is usually just a formality on Numbani.
It definitely does feel like that at some points. It's really hard to hold on a point like that, but when you can do it, it definitely gives you some confidence and a bit of that advantage going into your own attack. But of course, this kind of goes back to that first map where it was the choices of RRG Varsity, and now with that loss over on Nimbani, the choices are back into their situation as to what map they want to go to and what their first ban is going to be. In Shadowfang, we don't get to see this map type perhaps so much when we're in 3-map series. It's not exactly the most picked. Typically, we go pretty linear with it. But in this situation, I am pleasantly surprised because we are going to Flashpoint. We're going to Suravasa, which is going to open the door for Brawl and Rush styles to take place.
I really do think with Suravasa being picked right now, this ban is going to be so important for RRG. They need to make the right ban here. Like, what are they wanting to play? Because they need to they need to either protect or get rid of whatever tank they're trying to play. I think that's going to be the real key here. So, like, if you want to play the Malga, you need to get rid of, like, the Junker Queen or something. Like, just ban out the Queen. And if you're going to play the Queen, I think you just go on ahead and ban out the Malga right now and force the Queen mirror.
Yeah, I 100% agree in that situation. I think Junker Queen could be a massive threat here. Even running into the Malga, the Queen isn't necessarily there to take care of the Malga. The Queen is there to simply say, hey, bud, I'm going to just scoop past you real quick and kill your whole team. I mean, it's not like a lot of the tanks where it is a large, when you're going against a Winston or an Orisa, it makes more sense. But in this situation, it's the other side of things here. Ramatra going to be taken away for RRG Varsity, perhaps more of a, I would guess more of a protection in the situation. You don't want to get rid of anything else. But the Lucio ban is very particular for me because this means if they're going to stay down what they're running, I think the Break Juno style is more likely to come out for both sides.
Absolutely. And then if you're going to run that Malga comp as T-Tar fan, I think it favors you in that case because I think the Brig Juno works better with the Malga than it tends to work with the Queen comp. And it gives you a really strong target to go on as Malga. If you're not necessarily going to go on the Queen, you can try and slam that Brigida and just immediately kill them. That is a thing you can attempt to do at the very least. So I like this. These are two very smart bans, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Plus, it doesn't take anything away too crucial right here because honestly, if you're a big T-Tar fan, I think one of the things you have sitting in the back of your head is that Malga here. And I think it's more important to hold that for something like a push further down the line where it might have more effectiveness. And you might want that more, obviously, in a map 5 situation. And take your chances here and see if what you want to run is something that can work. Because if it does, that's going to give you far more confidence than making the wrong pick here and having to deal with that consequences the next map.
Absolutely. And here we go, going into the map right now. I'm really curious to see what the teams are going to be running. I think Juno Brig has to be what gets ran right now since there's no Lucio available. Maybe we see like a Juno Ana or a Juno Kiriko. I suppose that could be an option as well. I just think Juno Brig is probably going to be your best bet here. And so, yeah, that's what we're seeing from RRG. RRG going for the full-on Malga composition. And then T-Tarfan opting for some Juno Moira and going for this Diva comp. Haru was so strong on this Diva, and I think being able to defense matrix a large majority of Malga's damage can work very well for you here too.
Percent. Again, third map here online, very important for both squads right now. Spicy Toast gonna make the Moira debut in this match tier today, as Nyla more than happy to stay over on the Juno instead, which is gonna be creating some very interesting situations. I'm really wondering how well the Moira is gonna favor into what RRG Varsity are running. I wouldn't say it's the most optimal thing to run, all things considered, but either way, Piercing gonna go in directly and try to take a bunch of attention on a Freer, and clearly has the personal problem with this Sojin right here. But now for Piercing, it's becoming a bit of a rough situation right now, getting a bunch of healing, but at the end of the day, it's gonna cost Nyla her life. But the rest of the squad doing all right for themselves here, so they're going to get the point. But the fight not nearly over quite yet, but maybe with that pick, you might start considering it such.
Absolutely, and I mean, honestly, kudos. Ooh, that was almost a remake. That was almost a remake. I was really hoping we were going to get it there. But kudos to Freerin. Just staying alive for so long that Nonag couldn't do anything about Pickles getting all those picks for the side of T-Tarfan. So just knowing that, hey, even if I'm not necessarily going to win this 1v1 against this Tracer, it's allowing my Tracer to roam more freely around the map.
I mean, 100% in this situation right here is now final fight territory for this first point to get things going right now. Right now, everyone hanging around, more than happy to simply take their time, build back up that defense matrix, and give an opportunity here right now as, Piercing basically taking the bait that is Spicy Toast. Spicy Toast can get out in a flash. The moment they decide, hey, I'm done here, you will not see them again. They are gone. Just like that right there. Again, the bait is taken, and that means Piercing is generating charge slower and slower and slower. Open the door for something like Pickles to go in and catch onto something, but unfortunately for Spicy Toast, their pursuit, it does not, in fact, go into their favor right now. The pursuit of Bonnie and Clyde does indeed come to an end, as Piercing is going to follow them up as well. Looks like eventually Haru going to help their squad move forward, and while there is a bit of the cap going on, it does mean that the point will eventually likely flip over, but Haru is single-handedly keeping their team in this one.
Absolutely. Haru getting 3 kills and gonna have this point presence right now. Has bombed a remake too, so they're really not afraid right now.
I was considering they might pull it right here, but right now they need to be able to retouch. Right now they are deciding they don't want to at all. They have made the decision not to, but to be fair, if they did, it probably wouldn't have ended well anyway.
No, but I was just kind of expecting them to RRG to touch just to try and force out a few ultimates out of T-Tarfan. Just be like, you know, we're not going to ult, but you're going to have to kill us. But they're opting to go for this better positioning instead, which probably a smarter play in the grand scheme of things. A lot of ultimates available for both sides. I mean, just pretty much everything. So we're probably going to see a huge ult dump in this fight.
Yeah, would not surprise me in the slightest at all right now, as Farron unfortunately pops the ult and gets a whole lot of nothing. Pickles decided, you know what, that ult was so bad I'm jumping off the side of the cliff, apparently, as they will fall off the side, but there seems to be an investment ready to go. Spicy Toast wants to help the team take this away, and it's going to force both of the orbital rays out as well, which is going to be even more interesting because now we have a hard investment in this fight, and for RRG University, it's very heavily working out in their favor because they get to hold on to 3 ultimates, while Big T-Tarfan is going to be left with simply 2 different kinds of bombs here. Unfortunately, neither of them are quite as good as that cage is going to be.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you could just drop a Diva bomb inside that cage and be like, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me. Have one of those moments. You know, that'd be something I would do, quite honestly, just to see if you leave the cage up and don't run.
Yeah, and here's that potential situation up ahead right here, right now. Of course, not able to recall right now as it's a shooting range right now. Getting rid of 2, make it a 3rd, and it's going to be helping Colleen out the house. So, Big T-Tarfan, lucky for them, I guess, don't invest the actual bomb here now. All can start, I mean, essentially resetting for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to have the remake if you're Haru, so that could prove very crucial in this upcoming fight. It's not last fight territory, but it may as well be, because if you lose it, you're going to lose the point. So you're going to want to go all out, try and get an early kill if you can here.
Yeah, you see right now Fear and taking time to simply build up to that full power railgun right here. Catches onto a body shot onto Guitar Bob, but not quite the headshot that was needed. As Fearin is hearing Pickles right now. They hear them hanging around, but it's, again, a thing where it's taking so much attention away. Nene literally sitting on 1 health, especially got to be careful as Spicy Toes goes for the gamble, and it does not pay off as no nag there to help take care of business, as it seems at the end of the day that RRG is keeping themselves in relatively good positioning, and eventually it's going to come to fruition. So while that first point relatively dominant for Big Tarfan, and RRG going to take this second one in very much the same fashion.
That's just typical Malga POV right there. That's exactly how I shoot when I'm Malga. I'm like, you have to yell at the top of your lungs too while you're playing Malga. I don't know if you're aware of this. You got to scream while both the chain guns are going off. It's a requirement.
Yeah, you do a nice little oh while you're doing it. It's just the way it's got to go down. But Noah, I was gonna say no aha in this fight right here, right now, cage fight. Still a little far away right here, as you can see Pearson try to get out of the scenario right here. Pulse Bomb going to be activated, but does not find any receipts. As the point open here very shortly right now, Nene releases. Nyla doesn't have the ability quite yet to match it, as bomb is going to be activated right here, and you're to lose out on Fearin as the bomb does not quite get anything right here, but it still does open the door for the comeback from Big Tarfan right now. But RRG Varsity doing a really good job holding strong, eventually going to get the DMAC as well, as that will secure them the point here. And at the end of the day, it's all good and well, but unfortunately, Nyla not investing means that Big Tarfan is going to have pretty much a free investment here. So I'm curious how much Varsity wants to invest in this fight.
I'm curious about this swap over to Cassidy for Fearin. If the problem was that you're getting ran down too much, I feel like Cassidy is a more diveable character than Trojan is. It's weird to say because it's a Malga comp, but Malga is basically a dive character. Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, they are really wanting to try to shut this down here and now, but as you alluded to earlier, that was not a "you're trapped in here with me." It was a "you're trapped in here with me" kind of situation right there.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, not going to work out with that. And another unfortunate scenario is both teams kind of invested a little heavily into that fight. But to be honest, I think if you're Varsity, you win that fight, you win the point, you get the match point. So I don't blame them.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, they did hold on to their rally, so they'll have that. No Nag is going to get this Pulse Bomb in like, what, 10, 15 seconds here. So, and Pickles has Pulse Bomb available as well. So I think that's going to be the battle of the Pulse Bomb for this fight.
Yeah, 100% right here. And again, rally's still very much online right now. Pickles, though, could put a wrench in that idea. If that Pulse Bomb were to stick on right now, it does come out online, and Guitar Bomb pretty much threw the shield in front of it right there. It is going to stop it outright, so now no tools at the disposal besides, of course, going to have this Deadeye ready to go, but Deadeye only has so much of a level of effectiveness in this kind of situation right here. Haru is being torn apart at the seams, as is the rest of the squad, slowly but surely with the Pulse Bomb sticking, but unfortunately not getting really anything in terms of that. But Pickles and Fearin doing a really good job of keeping this point stalled out, but eventually it'll be given up, and unfortunately for Fearin, this will be a leg death, so recontention is going to be difficult.
This is pretty much just going to have to be No Nag getting a touch here, and then, or no, I'm sorry, it's going to have to be Pickles just getting the touch here, and then just kind of waiting for the rest of your team to get there so you can really have a full team fight. You have the ultimate economy here if you're T-Tarfan, if you can get this done.
Yeah, right now it's going to come down to Haru potentially finding this cage fight, yay or nay. Getting up to 90% right now. Deadeye can be activated around the corner, literally hiding away right now, as eventually got to invest. And unfortunately, the blink coming through just in time to stop the negation right there, as Fearin is now going to have to go in with simply the Peacekeeper at their side right now. But he's working out beautifully for the time being right now, as Piercing will fall down. Tank battle no longer into play right now, and unfortunately for RRG Varsity, taking this one back is going to be, I would say, nigh impossible, but they are still fighting their absolute hardest. But Nyla is simply going to say, no, this one is ours. Please back off. Please fight for the next one instead. But both sides are more than happy to just keep throwing ultimates into the fight, and it is just a scenario of how much can you do before it becomes not worth it? And at the end of the day, it looks like it might have been as the investment here from Haru. I mean, Shadow, this fight does not want to end, but ultimately it does have to right here. It looks like it will finally end right here with No Nag getting one and Pearson unfortunately following directly afterwards. And this one will finally come to end for Big Tarfan.
Yeah, I mean, I think those stomps from Haru were absolutely massive, just time and time again, catching somebody out. Piercing may have been able to get that cage off if that stomp did not come through. Luckily for Piercing, they didn't get it canceled or anything by trying to use the ultimate. But again, that's worthwhile. You get yourself to map point, and for the side of RRG Varsity, they're left with just the cage. That's it. They're pretty close on this rally as well. Should get it somewhere in this mid fight, but both teams expended basically everything.
100%. And now it is just one singular cage fight, and that's a little more aggressive than I would have probably expected. But Haru is now just essentially a sitting duck with their squad behind them. Not able to really help them out a whole lot. Haru, though, is very much staying alive, but that is a temporary ordeal as RRG Varsity, they take the simple, straightforward fight, use the ultimate, and at the very least, hey, I don't mind that. You do that to secure the first fight. That is objectively the correct decision.
No, absolutely. Go ahead, get it out. Let everybody start building up their ultimates again. You managed to hold on to the rally as well, which I think is going to be really important here. There's still no support ult online for TTarfan. So, ooh, that's gross. You can't do that.
Yeah, Pickles kind of just never stood a chance, unfortunately, as I love this aggression right here. It's pushing us super far, so now it is one fight territory again. Could be going to a fifth and final flashpoint, as a lot of ultimates currently on the table for them.
No, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised to see both Tracers go for their pulse bombs. You know, Tracers do love to try and get those sick plays pointed into the backline. That was almost Pickle's life once again. So they did just narrowly escape that railgun shot.
Yeah, 100% right here is Deadeye ready to go from here right now. And he's going to catch Nene off guard, unfortunately. And now things going to fall apart at the seams, as this is going to be the stall out to 99% right now. No investments going to be given elsewise. And to be honest, that's for Fury when it comes to this pulse bomb, not this pulse bomb, this Deadeye. That's kind of the most success you're going to get out of an ultimate like that here in 2025.
No, absolutely. Getting any kills with a Deadeye is huge. And I mean, here we are. Nyla needs to get up to this orbital ray before this next engagement happens. I'm sure they will, because I don't think RRG is going to engage right now. So you should be able to build up to this ult. It's going to be very important to have the dueling orbital rays, and I think Haru's cage is probably going to be the big difference back here.
Yeah, 100% right here in the cage fight. Moves in. Didn't find a whole lot right now, unfortunately. They're there to help out their squad right now. Going to make this a 5v4 right now. And now is the question of Big TTarfan, whether or not they want to invest to try to end this thing right here and now. But it looks like they're simply going to hold out, take the reset, go in with the orbital ray in the cage fight.
I mean, honestly, the cage fight, while it didn't do much in terms of doing damage, it did work as a shield to prevent that overclock from getting any kills. And that alone is enough value. You just trade that ultimate out, basically. And now, with the side of RRG having the cage fight, you have an orbital ray to try and help you burn through it as fast as possible.
Yep, and they're going to double down right now. And that is not what I consider a fight. I consider that a bit of a mauling right there, as Big TTarfan tried to respond. Unfortunately, it was more of a whimper, less of a response, as fifth point going to be coming through for both sides.
You do manage to at least get out the orbital ray from RRG as well, so you trade the ultimates at the very least. And now you're basically sitting here with both of your DPS ultimates if you're TTarfan. Deadeye probably not going to do much more than just kind of control some space for a little while. But the big thing is going to be these pulse bombs again, because if you land a stick onto either one of these supports, that could basically be the end of the fight.
100%, and now this first fight going to have a level of importance right here. Both DPS ultimates on the line for Big TTarfan600 right now. Pulse bomb be thrown in. Gonna stick onto the stationary spicy toast right now. But it's gonna be both of the Briggs being taken down right now. Gonna see the investment here of the Deadeye. Looks like it's gonna come into play very greatly so, as RRG Varsity got the back out, take the reset. First fight gonna go over to Big TTarfan.
And there you go. You get the value out of the Deadeye once again. So a great play, honestly. And now Mach managing to build up to this overclock. They've been really good with this Sojourn so far. Haru does not have the cage again to try and deny this value from them like they did last time. So TTarfan is going to have to play their angles smartly and just not poke out into this Sojourn.
Yeah, 100%, and now final fight territory once again, realistically on the board right here. It's gonna be on the back. Oh, but the Mystic gets knocked off the edge by Spicy Toast. Everyone needs to run. Get out of there as fast as possible.
That's the most tragic thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh Lord, I just know Piercing is so angry right now. That's like a keyboard breaking moment. Like you just slamming your desk. Like, oh, there's no way I just got knocked off the map by a free whip.
And now it's on the back of Mockery to be able to make this one happen. It's simply down to them right here. Furring gonna go in deep right here. Haru, though, has the cage fight ready to go right now. Nyla does get taken out at the end of the day, though, so the opening does exist, and it looks like Haru smartly going to hold on to the cage fight here, and now it's simply gonna be Piercing who's gonna build up further and further towards it, and now things are gonna get very interesting from here because lots of ultimates about to come up from both sides.
Oh my goodness, so many ultimates. Again, I always mention the pulse bombs because those are the ones that if you can land those stickies, both of them did last time, taking out each other's Brigidas. But if one lands and the other doesn't, that's just such a massive advantage for either team. But I mean, the big difference here, I think, is that Nene has the orbital ray. Nyla does not have that online yet, so that's going to be a big difference maker.
And you see the full-on investment here to get rid of Nyla. Is it going to pay off? Not in the slightest, ladies and gentlemen. Here, cage fight going to be activated. Haru going to be forced to get out of dodge, but it's not going to happen right here. And now it's the full-on investment from RRG Varsity right now without the take. They are falling apart at the seams, but they are dying quickly. That is a very small silver lining right here, but they're going to take their sweet time with Nyla because they realize the longer Nyla is out of the fight, the worse it's going to be. And now this could be the final nail.
Oh, that is a tough time to die right there. I mean, it's pretty much just on Pickles to get a touch here, and I can't see them right now, so I'm not sure if they're going to get a touch.
They will get a touch, literally, by the skin of their teeth. Right now, Haru going to get taken care of right now. One more recontention potentially to come through, but no, it will not. That last fight is what ended things, so it comes down to the literal wire, but at the end of the day, RRG Varsity going to put us on match point right here. It was very back and forth. I think both sides showed just what the peaks of their performance are. Unfortunately, one of them had to break, and unfortunately, for Big Tarfan, it was them.
I mean, honestly, it felt like RRG was just kind of better in the fights where all the ults got dumped for the most part. There were some of those fights that Tarfan was winning, but for the majority of them, RRG was winning all the ult dump fights. So then you're back to the neutral, and it's kind of hard to break the point once you have it. That's what we were seeing for a large majority of this map. It was incredibly hard for either team to overtake the point once one of the other teams got it.
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of a lot of these map compositions right here, where if you want to break through, you have to double down and invest both the orbital ray and the cage fight. We saw that from that fourth point over there, where Big Tarfan simply came through and used both ultimates immediately because they realized that might be the only way to solidify you take that point away. And at that point, it was an absolute must. But either way, it keeps us a very back and forth affair, but now this gives RRG that advantage for a potential Nat 5 situation. But for Big Tarfan, it's all about finding out what you're doing for this point right here, this next map, because once again, selection and bans are in their favor.
You know, I could be a crazy person here, but feels like Tarfan really dominated when they were playing those dive-based compositions. So I think this is the point in time you take. Don't leave a brawl map available for map number 5, right? Leave escort for map number 5. Because even if you have to play Shambali, you know, that's probably going to be one of your best bets. Because I don't think you should leave King's Row available. I think you should go ahead, pick. Oh, wait a minute, they already picked that. So yeah, you're gonna have to play either push or escort here. So yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, that's kind of what you're gonna have to do. Oh, I thought hybrid was still available. Oh, that's unfortunate. You're stuck with a map where you're kind of you have to ban Mauga here. That just has to be what happens, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other choice. Any other choice, I will generally have a Spectreon level rant sitting by in case it is not the case. But yeah, Mauga likely going to be the ban. I don't know what RRG's ban is going to be for themselves here, quite honestly, because obviously you just can't get rid of a tank in that situation. And I think the Tracer has been too reliable for them on their own side to realistically try to ban it out in a 50-50 style. So again, if this ban is anything else, I am going to be genuinely surprised here.
I'm gonna be upset if it's
Yeah.
anything else.
I'll be so upset, I'll take a drink from my glass. I'll be that upset.
So yeah, like I said, I think we're both pretty much in agreement here. You got to get rid of that Malga because you already know that that's what the side of RRG is going to play every time they've had the chance to play it. That's what they
Thank
played.
God.
Makes perfect sense that we're going to get that out of the way here. And then if you're the side of RRG, what do you ban here? Like honestly, out of everything, your Juno play was stellar on last map, so you don't get rid of that. What's something you just don't want to see right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say Farah for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually a thing. I'm just gonna say Farah.
Hear me out, Moira. Just hear me out. Hear me out on that, all right? Just hear me out. Spicy Toast was a little bit of work, you know. Not the best map in the world for them, but unfortunately, we don't get the silly, funny hee-haw. We are getting rid of Brig, which means on a Brig, not going to be much of a factor here. Juno Brig, not going to be a factor here. But you know what will probably be a factor here? Kiri Lucio, likely to come back into play for one of these squads. Don't know if it's going to be a complete mirror, but I think it might be one of the best options still available.
No, absolutely. I think your two best options right now are going to be the Junker Queen, and then I honestly think for RRG, if they want to play it, Orisa is probably a pretty solid option right now. It's a character that can kind of deny a lot of what Queen wants to do just by existing in the same area that Queen is.
I 100% agree in the situation right here. But for Big Tarfan, the grand final spot is on the line. If not, they'll have to go down and play another match, potentially qualify. And even so, you go into that match knowing that you have lost to them last time. But either way, no swap ups at all. This is the starting 10. This is probably going to stay at the starting 10 throughout the rest of this series as well. But I don't know. I'm just excited for this map because we have yet to really full out see the Junker Queen in action so far. And I feel like that's something that with the Malga out for this map, I think it would really benefit them.
No, absolutely. I'm 100% with you. We've really mostly just seen D.Va and Malga. Occasionally a little bit of Winston, but mostly D.Va Malga for the large majority of this map. And I don't think either of those heroes is really a valid... Well, obviously Malga. You can't pick Malga because it's banned. But I don't think D.Va's a particularly valid pick here. Okay, what do I know? We're just going to play dive comps. That's what we're going to do here.
Yeah, I think we might have accidentally gotten to the Chinese servers here, ladies and gentlemen. Dive on the table once again. As, I don't hate the D.Va pick, necessarily. I like everything else that's with the D.Va, because this comp, literally you substitute this with a Junker Queen, and you could probably consider it the perfect Jade Queen comp. I think that is a natural thing.
No, absolutely. And I really think, too, on a map like this, I think the Echo is going to have a lot harder time, just because there's not as many areas for you to hide as Echo. There's a lot more open space, and you'll be just taking a lot more stand damage.
Yeah, 100% in this situation right here. So, at the end of the day, it is an important one right here for Big Tarfan. They won a map 5. It's got to happen in the next 9.5 minutes. But, first fight, of course, has its level of importance right now. Is Katara. Bob going to be taking out early. Haru has been a unit thus far, but unfortunately, their team not able to survive the onslaught. The DPS line getting extinguished nearly immediately, and the supports likely to not be far behind right now. As unfortunately, Haru is likely going to try to have to find a 1 on the point here with Nene, who's sitting super low. Unfortunately, isn't going to find them, so that's going to be a quick fight for RRG Varsity. About as good of a start as she could hope for.
I mean, the tough thing here is I just think Winston is a better hero than D.Va. A lot of people think the D.Va directly counters the Winston. I think it's actually the exact opposite. When you're playing the Winston-based composition, it's just a stronger dive. You have a more sustainable area to hide under with the bubble, as opposed to the defense matrix. D.Va has to like look at you and use that for you, as opposed to just throwing the bubble on the ground.
Yeah, we got the trades coming through though right now. Piercing dropping makes this a very interesting situation right here, but unfortunately for Spicy Toast, might not be interesting in their favor, as getting super mega low right now, trying to DM it as much as Haru possibly can, but unfortunately it's not going to happen, as Haru going to grab the mega health pack to be able to sustain a little bit longer, as Pickles decided this spot is mine now. Thank you very much, as we're going to see them just take a little a soft reset here, essentially.
Yeah, let's just get regrouped. No Nag doing a good job of not really letting this cart get pushed back at all. And now you just kind of want to reset, get your nice little dive going here. Haru already up to this bomb.
Yeah, and this is going to be very useful. We've seen it had a lot of effectiveness. You look back at Lijiang Tower with the 2K. It could have a potential thing to work here right now, but Nene wants to try to stop this thing right here, right now, before things really begin right now. Pulse Bomb thrown out as well. So one is a zoning, and one unfortunately does next to nothing right here. So for Big T-Tarfan, this fight should play to their advantage.
Absolutely, they're going to respond with their own Kitsune Rush. The copy comes out onto the Diva from Mach.
Yeah, and Mach gonna try to make a little bit of disruption right now, but it does not help Piercing survive, unfortunately, right now. Bomb gonna be invested right now. Gonna be a rough scenario for anybody to live through right now. Qatar Bob, unfortunately, recipient of going back to the spawn room right here. And if you can get a clean fight win out of this as well, it's gonna set you up in a brilliant territory right now as Pickles needs to focus in on these targets and eventually will find them. And the last death gonna come online here for Nonag, more than likely, who's still hanging around, still doing a lot. Unfortunately, will die. This will be a clean fight win here for Big T-Tarfan.
That's exactly what you needed if you're T-Tarfan. Now you're sitting here with both teams having their sound barriers online. RRG about to get up to this Primal Rage. And then you got Freegrin with this overclock as well. So Guitar Bob going to be really important for dealing with this overclock problem.
Yeah, can be knocked away as well. Lead going to go back over momentarily by very little amount, mind you, but that fight that could potentially have been done to take it back, it's falling apart quickly. And now everyone else has to hit the reset button right here, trying going back into the spawn room right here. But the bright side, I guess, for Haru and Spice Dose is they're still hanging together, and they should both be able to get out.
I mean, we'll see about that. It's looking pretty scary here if you're Haru. This Echo Focusing Beam can do a lot.
I just don't know why they didn't just go all the way around, is my question. They chose to go through the path of adversity rather than the safe path, which is, a little troubling.
Yeah, that's a tough way to probably lose the lead here, potentially give up checkpoint. Maybe not. You should be able to touch again before this checkpoint gets here, for sure. But you're looking at a huge ult dump fight incoming here.
Yeah, someone is on point, though, stalling it out right now, which might give enough time for the squad to come through. But Haru is well in the back line right now. Piercing going to expend their own ultimate right now as once again we see the point being taken away. And they see right now, they kind of see this happening in real time right now. We'll start going the other direction as Piercing hoping to find something right now. Beacon to be used just inside to keep Freeran and Haru inside of their lives right now. But it's going to be spent to the other side as Haru's got to let go of this bomb right now. More than likely, and it's a big expenditure of ultimates from both sides right now. As not doing a great job of trying to stay up alive right here. And in fact, it's going to work out, well, only momentarily, as eventually, that's some weird moment. That does not seem right as the first fight. You know what? I think I might know the reason. I might be a bit of a psychic, but hey, you know what? At the very least, if it is a DC like we think it is, it will be a DC. Farron did just use the ultimate, so it's not the worst thing in the world. You can get a little extension on the lead, but it probably can't push much farther without them there.
No, I love to just catch that right there on stream. They're just walking in a straight line off into the distance. My favorite ones are when people just float off into the atmosphere. I kind of wish that's what happened to Freerun right there. They just kind of floated away. But it's been a really back and forth map so far, though. That's the one thing I've really got to say. Like, these teams are just trading fights. And these tracers are doing such a good job of just existing on the point, not just giving up that space for free, but being a general nuisance and playing those really irritating angles where you got to look way off over here somewhere and there's a tracer and that somehow counts as touching the cart for some reason.
Yeah, it's definitely that kind of situation here. And it gets me really excited by the fact that it is this 50-50 right here. I mean, it was as close as it could have been back on Surabasa. There were a ton of close points when you look back at Numbani and even Lijiang Tower. But being right now, more so to say, it's going to become a situation where eventually one of these teams is going to start running away with further and further progress.
Yes.
And it becomes a scenario where you simply have to plan out not just the fight you have in front of you, but the fight afterwards. Because sometimes if you're the person who's ahead, you need to be willing to lose a fight in a dry style just so you have the advantage for the next.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one time you can really dump ults into one of these fights is if you know you're going to get checkpoint off of it. I think checkpoint is just so vital and just map winning for the most part. We do see teams collapse in overtime for some unknown reason, so that could potentially happen.
Hmm.
But but yeah.
Yeah. But either way, we're getting this situation still figured out. It's going to be a minute as well. Obviously, internet, not something that is in our power here. So we're going to go to a quick little break, ladies and gentlemen. When we're back, we'll have this match and this thing resumed and potentially see RRG Varsity end things right here. Will it happen? We'll find out here in a couple of minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and obviously going to kick right back into the action as luckily connection came back here, which means Fearon is going to be here to fight. But of course, with this fight right here, it's going to be a 4v5 situation, and Shadowfang, it means they have to wait for Fearon to get back, and with the copy, they might consider backing off entirely, which they will.
Very smart play from them, quite honestly. You know, just regroup. You do have the lead. It's only about 3 meters, but you do have the lead if you're T-Tar fan, and that's all you need to win this map. You win this map by 0.1 meters, that's enough.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb ready though to be thrown in, and it's going to catch on the spicy toast, unfortunately, but the trade is going back and forth. Haru, unfortunately, getting taken out by the remake right there. Unfortunately, it is going to result in them losing. Was not just going to be that fight, but it's going to lose the lead as well.
Absolutely. Your big concern here is giving up checkpoint. That's the thing. If you can manage to just not give up the checkpoint, you're giving yourself a great chance to come back. As soon as that checkpoint, anything beyond the checkpoint, it's going to be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, and you see already all of that pressure over on Haru. Almost gets forced out of the mech right here. As we are going to see the forward spawn get activated and a D-mech on Haru. This is the worst case scenario for big T-Tar fan, as unfortunately Haru is going to have to try to survive, try to get that remech, but it is a non-case scenario here, as unfortunately it's going to be a full clear out.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really tough if you're a T-Tar fan. because this bot is probably going to get close to 80 meters before you get the touch again. Most likely, I'm going to say like 77, 78, something like that is where you get your next touch at, most likely. And you're looking at ults as well. Ults are about to show up. This is really on Piggles. Piggles going to have to land a sick pulse bomb here to really start denying some value.
100% on the line right now as that meter just keeps going further and further. It is now a 15-meter difference right now. Stick right over on to Piercing, who takes it for their Echo right there, and that could be devastating right here. You're going to see the chase on the known egg, who's going to hit the recall, but unfortunately isn't really going to recall for any health right now, as they need to find somebody eventually, and it's going to come into effect right here. So while this fight win will eventually come through for Big Tarfan, by no means is it clean.
And I mean, losing Freerin is kind of tough there too. You really want your Sojourn with your team, because this fight's about to happen right at midpoint here due to the fact that you have those forward spawns as RRG Varsity. And I mean, just look at the ultimates for RRG Varsity. They have all their ults online. You really need your Sojourn with you right now.
100% do right now is the mid fight still over there right now. So for the time being, Big Tarfan is looking for an opportunity right now. Full spawn may be thrown. If Furin barely avoids death, but it is only temporary right here as Nene gonna go in with the beat on top with Guitar Bob, and they give everything to win that fight right there. I mean, not literally everything, but both Spore ultimates, and now Haru, they could stagger them out if they wanted to, and they will decide not to, and simply take the win and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to get those forward spawns back for yourself if you're RRG. I think that's worthwhile to not stagger that out, just to give yourself forwards again. Literally, all you have to do is go a little bit past, get this forward, and then probably turn around. Because honestly, 89 meters, I think, is enough. But if you want to continue pushing this, you can also opt for that.
100% could right here as Haru, rough scenario right now, does have a bomb though ready to go if it is needed in the worst case scenario, and they're playing aggressively enough to where it's going to get forced out here momentarily right here, but the cleanse is going to keep them alive temporarily, so he's set at 89 meters right now, but as they start moving forward, potentially momentarily, but Spicy Toast, he's going to find something right here as Piercing eventually will find their target within Fearin right now as things falling apart at these seams, and as this has gone further on and further on, Big Tarfan beginning to fall out of it.
I mean, honestly, I think right now you're just seeing the advantage that the Winston comp has over the Diva comp. Like I said, it's just the bubble. The bubble is just more reliable in high levels of play than the Defense Matrix is. The Defense Matrix is a good secondary thing, but you don't have to take it more, so it just makes Winston a little bit better at those engages.
It really does right here. And now this is a straight win-out scenario right here. Lose one fight, sometimes maybe this first fight right here, and it's simply going to be over for you right now. Piercing gonna go in with the aggression right now. Plan's gonna be thrown on top of it right now. Spicy Dose gets pretty much deleted on the spot right here. While Piercing does go down, it's not gonna open up the door as much as you would really hope right here. But point has been taken away, and that means that someone's gonna have to give chase eventually, and it means they're gonna lose the close spawns.
No, absolutely, and it's Haru of all people, so Haru should be able to get away on this Winston. And I mean, there you go. You lose the forward spawns at the very least.
Yeah, but now the fight's going back to the same exact area, and now you no longer can make any more mistakes right here. Nene and Guitar Bob have both of their ultimates ready to go right here. Bubble going to be expended, try to create some separation from Pearson right now, who gets kind of low right now, but the beat is still there. Now take care of business potentially right here. Haru getting ran down. The beat and the rush close right now for Big Tarfan right here, but Haru is going all in to try to find something here with this. Is going to literally go in and try to give their life for this right here, and it's just not going to work out. Getting desperately low, and now overtime is activated. The beat and the rush being brought in right now. Unfortunately, Spicy Dose dies too late. Nyla drives too late, and Friend, they might have the EMP, but there's no dream here, ladies and gentlemen. RRG Varsity gonna move on to the grand finals, and Big Tarfan will have to fight in the losers finals for a potential rematch.
Still a really good game from both sides, but you know, I really think once RRG full committed to playing that Winston dive instead of trying to mirror the Diva, the Winston dive just kind of showed that it was the better composition overall.
It really did feel that way. Once the first few minutes, it felt extremely back and forth, and then everything changes when we come back. That fight comes through, and it's those back-to-back fight wins that we saw for RRG Varsity that kind of just solidified this whole thing, because up to that point, they were pretty much 50-50. This whole game right here was 50-50 outside of that minute and a half that RRG kind of just moved forward and took away those the checkpoint, which you said to yourself, when you get that checkpoint, it is so advantageous. It is so important to do. Even if you have to give away all of your ults to do it, sometimes it is just that worth it.
Yeah, because I mean, you get in a situation where even when a team is beating you in a fight, it doesn't result in anything because you have the forward spawn now. Like they're not going to get any progress whatsoever from beating you. So and that's what we saw, right? It continued to be 50-50, but because the forward spawns were always engaged, we were just fighting back at the midpoint again. The bot was getting pushed up to the checkpoint area, and then they would lose the fight, go back to the midpoint. Win the fight at the midpoint, go back to the checkpoint area. That's what we ended up doing after the checkpoint was captured.
Yeah, that's essentially what was happening. So, unfortunate scenario, but it's not like it was an elimination match. You still have the opportunity to fight back if you are a big T-Tar fan. Of course, you got to find out and see who's going to be waiting for you in that lower bracket here, which I'm actually curious whether or not that has been decided yet or not. I'm gonna go fact check myself right now, ladies and gentlemen, because I'd rather be wrong than right. But it appears we do know it is the University of Toronto that is gonna be waiting down there for big T-Tar fan, and that winner will go on to face RRG Varsity in the grand finals. But RRG Varsity, they got themselves that first spot secured, and right now they can simply sit back, watch that losers finals, and learn from that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm almost curious to see if we just see more mirrors coming up because it felt really close when these teams would just mirror each other.
Yeah, it definitely felt that way. But I can't wait to hear more about it because, of course, got ourselves a winner's interview that's becoming your way pretty shortly here. We are getting toward the dead of summer. It's not quite what I was hoping for, but either way, we're gonna take a couple minutes, get that ready. So when we come back, winner's interview with one of the members of RRG Varsity and hearing how this team will get to go to the grand finals. ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming and joining back with us with the conclusion of this match here. A spot in the grand finals has been secured on to the backs of RRG Varsity, who will move on and be able to watch the losers final match happening here in a few days. But for the time being, Bowser gonna be the one to join us right here. And Bowser, I mean, congratulations on the team, get the grand final spot. I just want to know how you're feeling in general for you and your squad.
I mean, I'm pretty stoked. Our coach gave us some incentive to really try hard, so I'm pretty happy with how everyone performed today.
Yeah. I mean, everybody had a very strong performance here today, and I mean, it seems like y'all play really, really well against this team. What do you think your edge has been against this team in the last two matches? Like, what's causing you to win in these 3-1 fashions?
So we did have, I honestly want to say our coach, he's been giving us a lot of huge, helpful guidance on hero bands, and also really helping us on the maps that we struggle with, like Numbani. That is one of our weaker maps, and I still think we performed really well on that one today, despite us losing that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, for my other question, if this team, which I personally think this team is going to be the team in grand finals again, do you think it's going to be the same outcome again? Do you think it's going to be a tougher match than a, in that case, a 4-1 fashion? Or do you think it's going to go that way, or is it going to be a much tougher, longer series, do you think?
They're definitely a tough matchup for us. They do have certain heroes that kind of counter us, but honestly, I don't know which way it'll go. I have a bias for my own team, so I am going to say that we are going to beat them. But they are definitely good. As long as we're not throwing, then we should win, is what I'm going to say.
All right.
Like that Symmetra comp on Numbani, as long as we're not doing stuff like that, we'll be fine.
Right. I looked at that and I'm like, surely they're just gonna do this once and instantly swap off, right?
Our coach literally gave us a lineup, and then like 10 seconds before we started, we're like, we're gonna sim, we're gonna go up there. I'm like, our coach just told us what we're doing. Why are we all swapping?
Classic situation, right there.
Right.
Yeah, but again, obviously, grand final spot locked in. Get to sit back and kind of let things happen. Essentially, I mean, what do you think for you and the team basically is going to be the preparation at this point? Because y'all are securing your spot right now. You'll get to watch the lowest final match. I mean, is the preparation going to be any different than usual?
I don't think we've ever actually changed what we do for preparing. We just scrim a couple times a week and then go over some VOD reviews with our coach. It's just kind of it's a lot of the. I keep mentioning him. Puddles, our coach, is just really the crutch of our team. I feel like we all just continuously keep learning from that. So we'll wait till the next thing he says, and then we'll deploy that in the next matchup, I guess.
You know what? Fair enough. At the end of the day, coach knows best sometimes, and maybe not all the time. I've been there. I've been there with coaches, but either way, not gonna throw any coaches under the bus here today because obviously things are very successful. But Bowser, before we let you go and celebrate the big win with the squad here, just if there's anything else you would wish to say, or if there's anybody you want to thank, we're gonna go ahead and open up the floor to you.
I'm just gonna shout out Coach Puddles again because of how amazing he is, and I'm also gonna shout out you guys for hosting all this stuff because this is fun and you guys are awesome.
Shout out. I will take the occasional shout out. I will take it once in a while.
Yeah, every so often, always appreciate it. Thank you very much.
100%. But with that in mind, obviously, we will let y'all go celebrate with your team. So once more, congratulations on the win, the grand final spot, and obviously, best of luck when the big day comes.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, take care now. All right, well, you know what? Hey, Shadow Fang, that is a pretty wholesome interview right there. We kind of got the bit of the trash talking interview earlier in the European region, but here today, I mean, pretty straightforward, pretty calm, pretty humble. Love to see it.
No, absolutely. And I mean, RRG winning in that 3-1 fashion yet again. T-Tar has some stuff to think about here because, I really think it was just a bit of a comp differential for a large majority of this series.
Yeah, it really does feel that way here. But at the end of the day, They still have to go take on University of Toronto Academy.
Yep.
It is still a thing where you cannot look ahead to that grand final match quite
Nope.
yet, because it may feel like such a simple ordeal to simply focus on that because you think this is going to be a slam dunk, but that's not a guarantee. There are no
No.
guarantees.
Nope.
There's nothing that is guaranteed. There's a couple things that are guaranteed in life, but this is certainly not one of them here. But either way, that's a match that is going to be set for a different day here, but I believe we'll have the conclusion of this division by the end of next week. So perhaps by the time we're talking here next week, we might have our champion out and decided. But speaking of Shadowfang, some champions being decided, we have a couple of amazing things going on. We're going to crown some amazing champions of our own here in CGL.
No, absolutely. Oh my goodness, just keep an eye on those Twitch pages, because again, every single day we are going to be casting something. There's going to be some kind of matches coming on, and even again later on tonight at I believe 11 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have a Masters match. So hey, if you're up a little bit later, you could check that out in about an hour.
Yeah, we're about an hour away from that start. That's going to be Sort of Skilled versus Celestial Knights. That's a semifinals match in the NA Masters tier right there. Should be a good one. The number 1 seed versus what I believe might be the number 4 seed. So certainly will be an interesting one to say the least. But as it says below, it's 9 brackets. So we're going to have 9 new or, back-to-back champions occurring within the next few weeks, including what our newest division down in South America as well. Got to crown their first champion in the regular season. But obviously, it's going to be extremely entertaining to be able to cast all these when they come by, because Shadow already said it. Now, we are trying to cast pretty much every single game we possibly can. And hey, might not be the easiest thing in the world, but hey, we got to get as many as we can. We love to do it, so hopefully we can keep bringing it to you.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And I mean, check out the, is it Kunoichi Clash? Kunoichi Rumble? I am not remembering the exact name of the tournament right now, but it is going on. Possibly right now. I have not checked the stream at this moment, but it is going on for the rest of this weekend at the very least.
Yeah, finished out for the day, but going to be deciding some champions tomorrow. Get things all taken care of, as Kanuchi Cavalry has been very interesting, to say the least, throughout the weekend right here. So likely to see some amazing conclusions tomorrow on top of that as well. So make sure to go and tune in for that, because while there's plenty of playoff action here, there's plenty of action there, and you'll be able to tune in at around 4 p.m. tomorrow to be able to get that opportunity. So to be honest, that's perfectly in the middle between the EU and NA games lined up. So honestly, if you want to sit around, watch some amazing Kanuchi Cavalry action, I mean, I'm going to be honest, you have no excuse. You have no excuse if I do not see that you there, I swear. But either way, talking less about last minute things and things happening towards the May area here, Shadowfang. We got another little fun thing going on, the Copa America right here, and we're having that broadcasted in 3 different languages over on May 16th. It's going to be a fantastic experience here. Of course, just having an amazing opportunity to see a lot of different players from the South America region play, and that's something we don't really get as much as we used to, so it's always a pleasure.
No, and I mean, it's perfect timing as well, because we're probably going to be finishing up here around, May 11th, May 12th, something like that. So you're getting finished with these playoffs, and then you can immediately just go right into this South American tournament to bide you over until the next season of CGL action.
Yeah, and then obviously everything will be planned out from there, because obviously we always have some fun little tournaments that go in between the seasons as well, but that's be something that'll be decided a little later into the future. So obviously we want to focus on what's right here in front of us, with the playoffs, with Kanuchi Cavalry, and eventually Copa America as well. So obviously a whole heck of a lot happening here at CGL, and Shadowfang, as much as I would like to keep going back to back to back and finish this whole division right here, right now, unfortunately, it's just not quite in the cards, unfortunately. I couldn't pull the script out. I couldn't pay Headremmer enough to, get the leaks, unfortunately. But we do know there's going to be more action throughout tomorrow, and of course the weeks to come right now, as lots of divisions still very much well deep into their matches. I wish I knew off the top of my head what the matches for tomorrow are, but I know we have a couple in place between EU and NA, so no matter what time you want to watch, I'm 100% certain there's going to be some action going on.
So yeah, just turn those notifications on. Tune in.
Yeah.
We're gonna have matches for days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But of course, we want to thank, of course, first of all, y'all for coming out here watching CGL here today, because there was definitely a lot of action between CGL 1, CGL 2, of course, CGL Kunoichi as well. But again, once again, that day is not over quite yet. You tune back into CGL 1. Here in about an hour, you will have the NA Masters semi-finals matchup for the winners bracket. So that's definitely going to be a lot of fun. But of course, thank you very much for Rhino, our producer, the bakery, our observer today as well, helping keep the lights on as we're doing this, because without them, we would do two people just standing at a webcam that isn't working. So want to thank them especially. That'd be a little awkward, but seriously, it's an amazing experience. It's great to have the playoffs here. But Shadowfang, if there's nothing else to say, I mean, I just think I think we've done our job.
No, absolutely. That's gonna tie it up and be the end of our match here tonight.
Yeah, but either way, again, make sure to tune in to an hour for CGL 1, get things all taken care of. But if not, obviously, everyone have themselves a safe and amazing rest of their weekend. See y'all later.
Our inside here, you get an insight and you know something, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.